Hey there, welcome to Hermit. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jackie. We're so excited to invite you into our safe space. Hermit Haven is like a cozy little hideout where we celebrate being confident in ourselves as we find happiness in quiet moments.
So grab your favorite blanket and your favorite drink, and let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, I'm Jackie. Welcome back to Hermit Haven.
Hi, I'm Ashley. We're so excited to have you. This week, we're going to be talking about giving your time to others without losing yourself. And we've been talking about time. So if you want to play catch up, we have a couple episodes before this episode where we really got into how to use your time wisely, kind of ordeal, what to do with your time, all this great stuff. But now let's talk about this big topic because I feel like a lot of times end up giving our time to like everyone else but ourselves. And then we're like at the end of the week and we're like, I didn't do that thing. I didn't do that thing. And sometimes it's just a little thing. It doesn't really matter. But then sometimes you get so behind, you end up like not pouring into yourself anymore. You like kind of give up on yourself because you're so busy giving your time to so many other people or other things.
Yeah. It's easy to say yes to other people. Like I know you and I feel that way. I'm a lot of my friends feel that way too. So I don't know if it's like a universal thing or if it's just like an us thing, but it's so much easier to say yes to someone else than say yes to me sitting down to like draw or read or whatever, do my workout. It's so much easier to be like, "Oh yeah, I can help you do that," or I can stuff around the house. Like, I mean, even like stuff around the house is still saying yes. I mean, I know it's ours, but do you know what I mean? It's not like something just for us, it's for others too.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's so easy to say yes to others and so
I feel
hard.
like too, like when people invite you out, you'll say yes, but then when you're like, I want to go do something by myself, like, you're just like, don't do it. Like, and I know sometimes it's just like you don't have confidence, you're nervous, but like, I feel like that's part of it, right? So, like, I feel like when we're talking about this topic, it's also talking about like the skills you have to build up to what you want. So, like, every time you say no, you're getting further and further away from whatever it was that you're trying to get to, right? And it could be just something so simple, right? Like, it could be like I'm not a Taylor Swift girly, but I know a lot of people are Taylor Swift girlies. And it can be something so simple as I want to listen to the new Taylor Swift album, right? But you're not giving yourself that time to sit down and listen to it. And it may be like you can't listen. And I think this goes back to one of our original episodes too. Maybe you can't give yourself 2 hours of time. That's just not going to happen. But if you use your time wisely, you could say, hey, I'll wake up 10 minutes earlier and journal. I'll go to sleep maybe 5 minutes later and journal. Right? I think that's something too, right? We've been talking about in these episodes. So I think when we're talking about giving time to others, we're also saying like it's okay to give time to others, but make sure you're still putting yourself on your schedule. Make sure you're still booking your appointments with yourself. And I think that's a hard thing to say. I'm canceling all my plans once a month and I'm gonna just give myself the day. Right? You have to show up maybe for your children, you have to show up for work, you have to show up for whoever, but you need to show up for yourself.
Yeah. I think the key, like the biggest key to giving time to others without losing me is that scheduling that time for you. Like, I know it's kind of the opposite of what our episode is about, but like that's what helps you prevent burnout. Like
Mhm.
when I start to feel anxious, I was just telling Ashley, like I had this anxious feeling like most of like half of today, and I just sat here and I was like drawing mindlessly just for myself. I know we're recording this at night, so excuse us. One of our real
So
moments.
tired.
I know we're both exhausted, but we're still here, and this is an important topic. So, but yeah, I mean, I just sat here and I just drew. It was like 10 minutes probably before we started chatting, and like my anxiety went way down. And it's not just anxiety, it's like that burnout feeling that we can all feel. Like it helps with burnout, it helps with anxiety. Like we all have these things. We all have overwhelm. Like even if you don't have anxiety or burnout, you have overwhelm of some sort because there's so much going on in life that you have to juggle, and you're thinking about kids or spouse or just yourself and your own schedule, work, whatever. And so the key to like being able to give, and like, I mean, especially for me as an introvert, it's really hard for me to give time to it's hard for me to say no to giving time to others, but it also is hard for me to give too much of my time because then I feel so burnt out, or like my social battery is so dead. And so I have to be able to be like almost like one thing a day besides the things I have to do besides what all that, like extra stuff. And even like one thing a day would be a lot for me. Like one thing every single night. I don't know how people do it. I that would be way too much for me. So I have to have nights where I'm like staying home or weekends where I'm like we have no plans because, but it gets harder, I'd say, like coming up with the holidays. Like the holidays are coming up and it does get harder because there's so many fun things that you want to do with the kids. We were talking about going before this, we're talking about going to see like decorations for Halloween or just fall. And then Christmas is coming up, same thing. Like there's so many fun things to do. And so if you can just schedule those little time throughout your week where you're like, okay, I need at least X amount of nights. You know yourself the best. I need at least X amount of nights or days where I don't plan something so that I can say yes to this person because I know they're going to have a holiday party, or I can say yes to this person because I know that they're going to want to do something fun for fall. And so you know that ahead of time most of the time. And so just making sure that you have those
Mhm.
times that you don't have anything planned so that you can say yes and like give the most you, like the best you. You know what I mean?
I think too, like this goes back to like one of our first episodes about time, but maybe this season you don't need to have everything on your task list, right? You know this season is busier. So instead of maybe like I'm gonna deep clean my entire pantry, right? That might not be a task to do this season. That might be like next season task, right? I'm right. Instead, I'm gonna do all these deep tasks, right? I'm instead just take 5 minutes and breathe. Take 5 minutes and like take a nice long shower, right? Like I think that's the thing too, is you need to decide what is necessary and what's not necessary. And I think that's the hardest part because some people want to do everything. Or you're like Jackie and I, and you think that you somehow Superwoman's going to show up and do your entire to-do list because you just put 50 tasks on there because it sounded really good, right? In reality, it was sounded great. Like, oh, I'll first do this, and then all of a sudden, like, your child needs another snack. The washer's not
Yep.
working the correct way, or there's an extra pile of dishes, so now you have to do an extra load of dishes, right? Like, I think that's too is being flexible. So, like, right, as much as like I would love a good like bubble bath, me time moment, right? Maybe that's not what it looks like tonight. Maybe my me time is going to be taking a book and reading for 5 minutes before bed. And hey, I'm going to accept that's what I can give myself, but at least I'm giving to myself. And I think this also goes back to like even an earlier episode, way, way, way back. But boundaries, creating that boundary with yourself, right? Yes, other people are important. I have responsibilities. I have things I have to do, but I'm going to create a boundary and say, I'm going to give myself I'm going to give 80% to all that, but I'm going to keep 20% for myself.
Yeah. Um, You know, I think like a lot of people, especially if you use a planner or something, it would be the easiest if you kind of like looked through your week and you were like, okay, I know that I have this going on at the kids' school or this going on for the holidays this weekend, whatever, some fall party or Christmas, Christmas coming up, whatever, Thanksgiving. Um, Looking throughout your week and being like, these are the things that I know I want to say yes to, and therefore I'm gonna block off, like almost like blocking it off on your
Mhm.
schedule of being like, I can't to write to yourself, I cannot plan anything tonight. Like this is a night where I need to do nothing. Like you just have to, tell yourself like these are the nights or days that you can't, you just need time for yourself. And everyone's different, so you know how much time that you need. Some extroverts do not need nearly as much time as I do. They're like, I get like one day and I'm good. I'm good to go again, like energized. But I need like multiple. And so that is definitely something that you have to do for yourself. Like you have to like take that action. But let's talk about like when, for people like me that hate saying no, but we cannot say yes right now. What do we do? What do we do? So I think something like I'd love to, but I need to recharge first. Or like, I'd love to. This week I'm slammed. Can we do something next week? Even if you are not slammed, even if you have days open, those are the days that you've designated for you. So like this week is so busy. Do you like what day? These are the days I'm open next week, or like what days do you have next week, or whatever,
And
like
it's okay to tell someone too, hey, I love the idea of doing all these things with you, but the only thing I have time for that day is going to the coffee shop and grabbing coffee for an hour. Is that okay? Like you
Yeah,
can change it.
true,
You
true. You
can
get to like set your amount of time.
yeah, I love that. Like setting that like kind of like this is what I have, right? What do you,
Yeah.
you know, does this work? And I love the idea too. Like if you know your schedule, you could tell someone, "Hey, I have something on my schedule." But it's okay too to say, "Okay, well, I had this plan for myself today, but I have this really fun, unique opportunity." And if that's what you want to do, then that's important too. But remember, if you take away time from yourself, make sure you're still putting that time into yourself at some point.
Yeah.
And I think, it doesn't have to be every week, right? It could be once a month where you're like, hey, hubby, you're taking the kids. I'm going to get coffee in the morning. I'm going to go to the thrift store. Like, I'll see you in 2 hours, right? It doesn't, you know yourself, like Jackie's saying, you know what you need. Something too, I think, again, this goes with every episode we're going to talk about, but your intention. What is your intention, right? Is and so when you're waking up in the morning, getting ready for the day, maybe your intention for today is yourself. So what does that mean? Maybe it's spending an extra 2 minutes and using that fancy face mask you've been wanting to use. Or it's instead of, using the cheap coffee, is taking the extra 2 minutes and pouring yourself a luxury coffee, right? Because that's your intention today is to treat yourself right, is to treat yourself better. So maybe it's not time like we think, right? Where it's this big block in time, but it's instead just treat the way you treat yourself that day.
It's such a good point of like your intention and like your priorities. What do you want your priorities to be this season? I don't know. I honestly don't even really think about, I mean, like I do, but I don't think about it like that. If I just sat back and I was like, okay, this person's asking me to do XYZ, but that day I really wanted to take the kids and do blah, 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 blah. Well, my priority is my kids in the season, at all seasons, but like especially like during the holidays, I want to do things with them. And so I can't say yes to this because I want my priority is my husband and my kids and I want to do things with them. And so sometimes that's hard though. I'm gonna be honest, like that's sometimes really hard for me because A, I'm a quality time person, and so I love spending quality time with friends. Like I love it. Even though I'm an introvert, I just love spending quality time. And so sometimes it's hard for me to be like, someone's inviting me out. I'm like, oh, thanks for inviting me. Like, I get so excited. And I'm like, cool. But then I have to say no, even if it's like to the park. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I have something that day. And then sometimes I try to fit it in, and Glenn's like, why are you doing this? Like, he literally will be like, what are you doing? Why are you planning so many things? And I'm like, but they asked me to go, and like, I really wanted to say yes, but like, I shouldn't have said yes. So you have to know yourself, and sometimes you have to learn, like me, from doing it and making mistakes.
And I think sometimes we want, like, I think sometimes we hyperfixate on like stuff and then and we're like, okay, instead of like paying attention to something like more that would, I don't know, help us grow, become the best of you, we like are like, oh, I'm playing this new game on my phone or I have this new video game. I'm just gonna play this and I'm gonna zone out. That's okay. And that is never not okay. But remember, when you're taking this me time is supposed to help you grow, help you become a better person, help you feel fulfilled, help you feel successful. And so if you're taking me time and you're walking out of it feeling more drained than when you walked into it, then that's not the correct me time for you. And I think that's important too. Be smart with your schedule. Be wise with your schedule, right? If you're taking me time for yourself, make sure it's helping you, making sure it's fulfilling your cup. And again, like Jackie said, you might not be a person that needs like 4 days, right? You might just need like a day. Or you might be a person that like runs on no energy and then like 6 weeks into whatever, you're like, all right, it's been 6 weeks. I'm gonna burn, I'm gonna crash. I need the day off today, right? It just, you know what you need. And here's the thing too, this is the beautiful thing. Once you start understanding schedules and time, you start realizing that I get to play around with this, right? So I'm gonna try having a full day to myself, see what happens. Or maybe I'm gonna try just having 20 minutes to myself and see what happens, right? But that's the fun part is learning what works best for you. So when you're invited to all these things this season coming up, remember, you come first. So if someone says, hey, I want you to be at my house at 9 a.m. in the morning and you know you're not a morning person, do yourself a favor and say, that sounds great. I'll see you at 9:30. Like, is that okay? Like, even it, like I think that's something you have to be open to is being able to say, hey, that sounds great, but could we do it maybe a little later? Or is there, a different day? I'm a little bit more flexible on this day. Would that work for you? And I think too, like we got invited from our friends to go to this really cute event in you have to pay for tickets or whatever. It's like this like hour event, but we looked at it and we were like, honestly, that's not how we want to spend our time this season, right? Like we want to do fall events, but this is not the type of fall event we want to do. And we told our friends and we said, "Hey, is there maybe something else we can do?" And they came back and they said, "Hey, we're gonna go to a pumpkin patch this weekend. Would you like to come?" And I think that's something too, is if you're talking to the right people and you're talking to someone that cares and loves you, you won't, A, probably won't feel afraid, but B, that person's gonna accept whatever's coming out of your mouth. It could be literally like, and they'll be like, okay, sounds great. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. If a friend is ever like, hey, I just had like a really crazy day or a crazy week, and like I just need a mental health day. And I know we had plans, but like, can we reschedule? I'd be like, I totally understand.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, thank you for being honest and not just like making me think, like it's totally okay. And it's okay to have boundaries. It's like so important, especially during the holidays. There's just so much chaos going on. Something else that like came to mind that I've been like, I feel like dealing with personally. I mean, everyone deals with this, but like in my specific way is comparison. And I feel like it really ties in to this topic and the season because comparison, as far as for me, I am always like, how come other people can do more than I can do? That's something that I really struggle as an introvert and just like as I am, I just really struggle with it. And I'm always like, how come this person can go do all these things with their kids and do all this stuff? And I would not be able to handle that. Like I just couldn't handle it. And it makes me feel like less than. So it's something I've been really working on, talk like positive self-talk and just being like, no, Jackie, like you're amazing the way that you are. This is how God made you. And like, it's okay. Maybe it's the season. Maybe it's just how you are now. Like maybe you've just changed, or maybe this is how you always were and you just don't remember because I have bad memory. But like, but also comparison can be watching other people do all of the fall things and all of this stuff and be at parties and do all this stuff. And you think, oh, I have to be doing all of those things in order to feel happy. I think that's a huge comparison during the holidays. It's like, look at this person doing all that stuff. Maybe I should be doing that with my kids too.
You might not need
That's
that. You might need more
that's
you
yeah,
time. And that's
exactly.
and I think, and here's the thing too, is I think about this a lot too. Like, I'm so excited as a mom to be able to go do all these fall things with my family. But I love fall just as much as doing the fall things with my family. So, like, maybe I need to go take myself and go do a fall thing by myself, right? I think because what's going to happen is the season's going to end, and I'm going to be so thankful for the memories I made with my family. But I didn't take myself on a date. I didn't do something for myself. So, and I feel like that's what happens too, is like time goes by so fast. You can't like go back to tomorrow. You can't go back to a year. You can't go back to a week. You can't. But what you can do is adjust. You can change. You can work on skills. So like maybe your skill is you say yes to everything. That's a skill you can work on, right? Take 5 minutes, right? And say, make a list and be like, is this worth saying yes to? Is this worth my mental health? Is this worth paying my kid's schedule in the whatever craziness? I
Yeah.
think that's something too you can do. When someone offers you something, you can say, I'm not sure, can I get back to you? And then take that time to adjust and say, does this benefit me? Does this benefit myself? Does this benefit the other person? Like, should I go?
Yeah, you don't have to say yes right away. That's such a good one because I feel like we tend to be like, oh, I have to make a decision right now. And it's like, well, just be like, hey, let me check my schedule. Let me just make sure with my husband or like whatever. Like, let me just double check, like, and then think about it.
I think
And
it's the same thing with yourself, though. You don't have to say yes to yourself either, right? Like, you get so excited. You're like, I'm gonna go do that right away. And then you go down this like rabbit hole on some random task that you didn't even mean to do, right? Again, use your time wisely. Like, I know I'm struggling. I know I'm struggling. Like, I don't even think I posted my post last week, but I did get sick and I did die off, which is another thing is when you're working on a skill, when you're working on something, you won't die off. You won't like feel like how I feel, right? Like you'll be able to like always continue to get on your horse and go. And I think, right? So if you know your strong suit is not saying yes, then you need to start practicing now because we're gonna get into that season coming right up. And everyone's gonna be like, hey, you wanna go to the pumpkin patch this weekend? Hey, I got a 14 holiday, we got trick or treating in this house, trick or treating in that house. Hey, you coming to my Thanksgiving? You coming to my Thanksgiving? Are you coming to my Thanksgiving? Right? We're getting in that season.
Friendsgiving?
Also, I think too is with children, because I work with children, this is a really important lesson to teach children is how to let them have time to themselves. I think so many times as a childcare provider, we're expected to, because we're getting paid to play with their children, we're expected to play for 20 the entire time we're with them. Like I can, and I will tell you right now, as a childcare provider, I will tell the parent right now, if your child decides to start independent play, I will let them have independent play. If your child, we will take a break in the middle of the day where your child will have independent play. Like it is so absolutely important at a young age to start teaching your children independence and that independence by teaching them independence play. Once you start, and it's the same thing with adults, right? You're teaching that same skill with adults, right? I need that independence. I can do this with someone else, but maybe I need to do this by myself.
Yeah. Gavin always come to me and be like, I'm bored. What should I do now? And I'm like, go find something to do. Go
Yeah,
look at your room. Go look around. What makes you happy? What's gonna make you happy right now? Go do that. Not the iPad, but something else. Go
but
find
we
something.
love you. We love
Yeah.
you all. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next Wednesday for the next episode. And you guys are the best. And we're excited for the next episode. So stay tuned. It is going to be officially our 50th episode next.
Crazy.
And we have a surprise. So make sure you are signed up for our emails because we have a big surprise coming out. Not next Wednesday, but a couple days after.
We're working hard.
Working very hard. Well, we love you all. We'll see you
Love you.
later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for spending time with us today and being part of our Hermit Haven community.
We hope you enjoyed our cozy chat and are inspired to embrace your inner hermit.
Remember, even in the quiet moments, you're never alone on this journey because we are truly all in this together.
So until next time, stay cozy, stay true to yourself, and keep spreading love wherever you go.
Bye for now.
We'll see you next time.